a great segue into some of the conversation that we're going to have now. One of the real challenges, there are two big challenges, I think, when we talk about where we are in LA County, and how we capture the opportunity that we have right now to really elevate certain communities that have been disenfranchised for a long time, is that we have to be able to understand two ideas. The first is um, exponential growth and exponential change. What we're seeing right now with respect to technology disruption and some of the other factors that are impacting our economy and our lifestyles is that they're accelerating, right? It's not just the fact that things are changing, but they seem to be changing faster and faster and faster. And I know that all of you have seen this, right? 2 years ago, we weren't even talking about artificial intelligence. Now we're talking about how it's going to take people's jobs, right? 10 years ago, we were not talking about streaming, and so on and so on and so on. Things seem to be changing faster. And so when we talk about making adjustments within our communities, we also have to understand the speed with which we need to attack these problems. The second piece of this, which I think, I see JP is taking a seat on the end, so I'm going to go to him first, um, is your question about kind of community and personal responsibility versus systemic challenges and how we address those. And I would say that that is an ongoing challenge. While we want to have autonomy and feel like we have the ability and the resources to address some of the challenges that we are facing, and while you see tons of superheroes like the ones that are sitting up on the stage right now, I see you, Stella, um, who are doing the work on a daily basis. At the same time, there are some barriers, challenges, um, points of contention, conflicts, etc., that actually are baked into systems that deeply and consistently affect the way we live. So when you think about access to food, I think somebody earlier was talking about how disinvested communities often have food deserts, right? It's very difficult to get to a grocery store and stuff like that. Same thing with banking and investment. Same thing when it comes to access to credit, access to capital. Same thing when it comes to cultural impoverishment, right? So this idea that you grow up in a community, but you don't see a lot of role models that give you a sense of the wide array of opportunities that exist, right? One of the things that we'll hopefully get to in this panel will be to explore some of the different opportunities that maybe didn't exist 10, 15 years ago that do exist now. But I think more importantly, we're going to talk about ways that folks can get access to this modern economy with some amazing people who are not only kind of providing a bridge, but also are providing training and a different point of view about how do you get ready for this 21st century economy. So what I'm going to do is from here, in the interest of not interjecting too much with the kind of video delay, I'm going to ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves, starting with JP and going down. Please say who you are, but also say a few words about what specifically you're working on right now and give an example of a win or an opportunity that can kind of crystallize why it is that you're working on what you're working on. So I'm just going to let you guys take it away, and I'll be quiet till we get to the end.
All right, cool. Is this on? Hello, hello.
I hear you. The mic is on.
Oh, you hear me? Great, awesome. Yeah. So, hi, my name is Dr. John Paul Tavakian. Everyone calls me JP because I'm not a medical doctor. You break a leg, I cannot help you. But I can send some apprentices to patch you up. So I'm the founding president of West Cal Academy. We run the state's largest pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship linkage program. It's funny because I just want to say that the most disinvested community that I know of, because I work there, that no one here has talked about is Avalon. You want to talk about disinvested community? Go to Catalina Island. It's an island of nothing. The only thing there is hospitality. And you want to talk about pollution? The entire island is powered by diesel generators and a few propane generators, and that's it. And so talk about pollution, it looks pretty, but it's really not. So what are the areas of what we're working on is bringing in, we're going to talk about it today, pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs to communities that have been disregarded for too long. So for example, Justice Impacted and At Promise Youth, we run the largest apprenticeship training programs for all of LA County probation halls and camps. We work in partnership with the California Department of Rehabilitation and also the new LA County Department of Youth Development. In terms of students with silent disabilities, many of our students who've gone through our program who are disabled are making six figures in advanced manufacturing. And one of the thing that we work on every day is to break the stereotype that someone can't do something just because they're born in a certain situation. That's a bunch of BS. To have a counselor tell a student that because you're disabled, the only thing you can do is stuff bags at a grocery store is ridiculous. Now, there's nothing wrong with stuffing bags at a grocery store. All work is honorable as long as it's legal and ethical, you know. But what if you're presented with an opportunity that you didn't think about before, and now you're making $100,000, $200,000 a year? And that's the world of apprenticeship. So I'll pass it on now to Sterlina. Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sterlina Cerritos, and I am the Director of Business Development for West Cal Academy. I was previously the Director of Public Relations. So I'm wearing a little, some hats, taking them off, putting some new ones on. But to answer Jay's question about what I'm doing now, is currently in West Cal, a lot of outreach. We have had our program run at the LA County Probation Halls and Camps, specifically at the Dorothy F. Kirby Center in Commerce. And we currently have one at the Barry J. Nydor facility in Sylmar. And my experience in life, it impacts a lot of what I do in West Cal. I draw from my experiences in order to resonate with the young ladies and young men as well at these facilities. I was kicked out of high school when I was 15. It may not look it now, but I was a big troublemaker. I actually had to go to a continuation school to get my GED. And as I was in the process of getting my GED, my father... No worries. It happens. Oh, thank you. All right. Yeah, so as I was in the process of getting my GED, my father went to prison. I had to drop out of getting my GED to help my mother out in our mini market that I mentioned earlier in Koreatown. I went through all of these obstacles, and that's just the very tip of the iceberg. I had to overcome so many challenges in life. And so when I go into the probation halls and camps, and I'm face to face with a lot of young people that face similar challenges to what I faced, I want to serve as a role model to them. Earlier, I had someone tell me, I don't like the term role model, like a life model. And I agree with that. I want these young people to know that there are opportunities for them out there. And I want to be the person that I needed when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, up until the age of 24, because that's when I met JP and the West Cal team. I came into West Cal. And I remember one of the stories that I told JP was when I was 18, I tried to get a job. I wanted to get a job. I went to Jamba Juice and I said, I want to work here. I think I have the image. I have a lot of energy. I love smoothies. Yeah, let's do it. Please hire me. And after 2 rigorous interviews, it's very rigorous. Probably harder to get into Jamba Juice than the FBI, but at least that's how it felt. She called me and she said, "You do not qualify for the job." I said, "Why not?" She says, "Because you don't have experience." What? I told her, "But I make smoothies at home. I know how to make smoothies. What are you talking about?" I'm sorry. So that was a blow to my confidence. And I just kind of, had no direction in life. I didn't know what to do. And it wasn't until I met the West Cal team. So I want to extend that that opportunity to kids that feel like they have no direction, kids that come from single family homes or no family homes, kids that have been kicked out of high school for any reason. I was there, and I want to give a helping hand to those students, especially the ones that come from disinvested communities, because I know what it's like. So I'm going to pass it on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Stella Ursua. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships with an organization called Grid Alternatives, Greater LA. That's my day job. I also serve as the Vice Chair for the Steering Committee for California Jobs First, and I was the lead for the Sustainability Affinity Hub. And so all of that means that I've been super, super busy. I think the question was one win for our organization. Real quick about our organization, in case you don't know Grid Alternatives, we are a nonprofit organization. We're the largest solar installation nonprofit organization. We work under a number of contracts from the state of California. We install solar panels for families that need help with their energy bills at no cost. Repeat, at no cost to the family. If you know anybody that needs help with their energy bill, I just said last night, my bill has gone up to $287. There's 2 people in my family, $287. I can't even imagine what a family of 6 is paying for right now. We can cut that bill down between 50 to 80%. That's a nice little chunk of change. The other neat part is that we are training folks how to install solar panels. And we're training them how to become solar designers, and we're training them how to become solar project managers, right? So the win for us is we were just awarded a grant from the National Oceanic, National Oceanic Atmospheric something. Yeah. Anyways, we want a grant to start a new training facility over in Long Beach. And so we'll be working on that for the rest of the year because we are located very close to here, just off of Washington Boulevard, just the west of Commerce. And so we have to have everyone come to our training facility, which is not the easiest thing to do if you live in Pacoima, if you live in Palmdale, Lancaster, Pomona, etc. So that'll be our 3rd training facility. We just opened up one in Pacoima. So that's a big win for us, so we can provide more equitable access to training and development. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oscar Aguayo, and I am one of the co-founders and president of Conexión. Conexión is a 501c3 organization. We are located in South Central Los Angeles, more on the historical side, but also on the Florence Firestone. What Conexión does is we provide technical assistance and mentorship to the small business community. We also have several programs. One program is, we call it the South Central Business Builder Program. It's a business accelerator program, and people who qualify for this program is people who have skills in the community. We have a lot of talent in the community, have skills. They've been working in places, but somehow they want to be able to start their business, but they don't know how. They don't know what's the roadmap for it, and education is a big issue. So this program is a perfect program for them to be able to come in, teach them the roadmap, hands-on training, and then at the end of the course, they're able to launch their business. And I'll talk more about some of those success stories. And now we're in the high schools, and the high schools is very important to us because it's about teaching the youth about entrepreneurship, but not only about entrepreneurship, having an entrepreneurial mindset, because the landscape for the job industry and everywhere that you're going is changing, and you got to be able to think and solve problems on the fly. And we see that it's a very big need. There's a lot of high school students that are dropping out, right? And we need to be able to provide them different opportunities for them not to drop out. Eventually, hopefully, they can get inspired on some type of marketing, management, accounting, and other areas, right? Even design, engineering. Where is those little key areas that they can get inspired and say, you know what, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to go to that community college, or I'm going to go to a trade job to learn this, and then I'm going to start my business, right? So that's very important. So that's another accelerator program that we have for the high school students. And a lot of the work that we do is, work with the mom and pop historical small businesses. We work with a lot of startups. I get a lot of people from the community that come to us and tells us, How can we develop a corporation, right? Can you talk to us about how to be loan ready and things like that? I want to say a success win for us was a participant that was 19 years old. She was going to the University of Arizona, and she was going into social media. She was going to go into technology. Part of our cohort, what we do is we make sure that we purchase it for you, your corporate documents. Okay, we get you your branding kit, we get your website. We also do we give you $500 to open up your business bank account, because opening up a business bank account and having a personal bank account needs to be completely separate. And also provide them as much mentorship as possible. I remember when she got her corporate documents and she's like, take a picture, I'm finally a business owner. And for us as an organization, that's what we love to do, right? We got to give them opportunities. We got to be able to give them hope. All right, so that's one thing. I also noticed that I canvass a lot of the community, Florence Firestone in South Central Los Angeles. I go into small businesses in there, okay? And I'm there offering them services at no cost, whether it's helping you out with your accounting system, your POS system. There's through community partners, we're able to provide you access to capital. If you need help with marketing, we're connected with USC students from graduate student, undergrads. We can bring in students to help you out in area. We can, students need sometimes a hands-on experience. Connecting you with the small business, it's a win-win, right, for the small business and for the students, right? But as I walk out the business, they're not interested. They're like, you can see sometimes there's no hope. And when we talk about uninvested communities, those are the type of uninvested community that they look at you and it's like what? You've been surveying us, right? You just pop up here and then you never come back. Is this the government coming in here? Everybody better hide, because all they hear is here to tax us. So they're scared. They're super over already surveyed, and that's a big issue. We have to think about when we go into these communities to do outreach and invest into them, okay? We got to invest 3 times that amount in underserved communities. It's easy to go to the west side and invest 1 time. But when you're going to underserved communities, there's a lot more investment that you need to do. But I will talk more about this. But I guess that would be my intro.
Thanks to all of you. What an amazing group, right? So one of the things, Oscar, that you started just now, in the way you described what you did, what you have been doing, what your organization's doing, and investing in small business owners and helping them figure out how to solve some of these problems, is this idea that for us to take action, you need to have a theory of the case, right? You need to believe, you have to identify what it is, what the challenge or the obstacle is that we need to address in order to unlock the potential of these communities, right? I'd love it if you all could each talk a little bit more about specifically, what you saw as the opportunity and why you shaped your organizations and your strategies the way you did.
JP, would you mind sharing mine?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
that one seems to be good. I'll take it off your hands.
No, this is the one that works.
Testing.
Oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, go.
Wait, we have disinvested microphones now?
Disinvest.
And we're working on that too.
Wow. Okay. So why our organization came to be? Is that the question?
What was the theory of the case, right? What did you see as the thing that was wrong that you were trying to fix? And then why did you design your organization to do things the way you have them done?
So you want me to answer this as JP, right? This is not a G-rated conversation. I'm giving fair warning.
I will tell you that we
Okay.
can debate, discuss, etc. I'm sure the folks here are trying to learn, so
Okay.
let it rip.
So most people are stupid. I'm sorry. And most people in academia are stupid. And I'm a doctor of education, and I'm a doctor twice. I'm a high school dropout. And sorry, Sterling, I got kicked out of 2 high schools. Yes, it is. This is also my fiance too. For the record, we work together, and this whole company, and so the issue that where I come from. So as a high school dropout, And I say because I wanted to show the people I talk with that I was a kid. I was a kid that I pulled pranks in school. I blew up lockers with M80s. I did a lot of things. No one died, don't worry. But I got kicked out of high school, 2 of them. And I was 15 years old. And I went to, my dad was a college professor at LA Trade Tech. Go Beavers. That's our mascot. And my dad said, get out of here, go follow your dreams, take the exit exam, go to community college because you're wasting your time. I was like, okay. And I was a straight A student and I got kicked out of 2 high schools. So I had a really high GPA. And I wanted to become a political chef. Don't ask. You're 15 years old. What the heck? So I went to cooking academy at LA Trade Tech College. I went into the political field at the same time. I became a limousine driver. I did a lot of things. And what saved me was having the mentorship support to kick me in the butt and to say, look, what you need to do is get hands-on work experience, figure out what you love, what is your passion, and focus on that, and the money will come. I retired at age 32. Okay. And retirement is being able to do what you want to do, not what you have to do. I've run political campaigns. I've worked for the federal government. I've been involved in so many different industries. West Cal is a testament to my dad because my dad was an academic entrepreneur. I wanted to help create a company that would serve the entire community without having to dig in their pockets to pay for stuff because someone did it for me. We have addressed the problem in instruction where we're babying our kids so much that they're not allowed to go outside and get that hands-on experience. So they're wasting their time in majors that have nothing to do with their pathway. For example, I literally had a student who told me, JP, I'm going to go and major in English. I said, why? I mean, are you going to be a teacher? Are you planning to go to law school? Do you like to write? No, I'm going to major in English because I speak it. I'm sorry, what? He was serious. And I said, we're majoring in English because you speak it. And he says, yeah. He's a waiter now. He has a doctorate in English. He literally went from, he did his associate's degree, he went bachelor's, master's. His parents never pushed him to go work. He has a PhD in English. He's a waiter at Denny's in San Luis Obispo. Okay? And hey, that's great. College, you learn how to learn. But we really wanted to connect, what is the pathway? What is your career pathway? What is your passion? And then let's tailor your education accordingly. So we are all about apprenticeships. We're all about on-the-job training. We are in a world where we are having students in debt and hundreds of thousands of dollars for a frigging bachelor degree. We're not talking about a medical degree. We're talking about a bachelor's degree. And most of these majors are majors of nothing. There is no financial benefit to this whatsoever. In our program, if you're a student of West Cal, you are not allowed to take a loan. I don't care who you are. I will kick your butt from here to kingdom come. You're not allowed to take a loan. For 10 years, we have placed over 5,000 students in gainful employment, not at a living wage, but at thriving wages. 5,000 students. We're the largest provider of vocational instruction for all of LA County probation halls and camps. We run all across the state of California in every single industry you can think of, and we are major disruptors. And I'll tell you that for the parents who are here, and for those of you who are, not parents, but you're planning ahead for the future for your own career pathway, I don't want you to be dependent on those in academia who are dictating to you about just going to school in a major that has nothing to do with the career relevancy. It's all about how much money are you going to make? Are you able to take care of yourself and your family? And let's plan your training accordingly. Signing for debt makes no sense at all. That's why our country is so messed up. And that's what our company focuses on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Sterlina.
My dear.
I'm very much in the moment. So can you please repeat the question once more?
So the question is, what is your theory of the case? What's the opportunity or the challenge that you see that your organization is addressing? And I guess, since we already got a big chunk of that just now, maybe you can talk a little bit more about how the specific programs are related to the opportunity you see and what you think needs to be done in order to address the challenges.
Okay. So, just speaking straight from drawing from my own experiences, um, it's a lot about not what I had growing up. It's about what I did not have growing up. Around the time I got kicked out of high school, I felt like the community was disinvested in me, even though I didn't articulate it at the time in words. It's what I felt. And I did not have motivation. I did not have um, a concept of appreciation for work experience. It didn't mean anything to me at the time. When you're 15 and you're 16 and you're in your teenage years, you feel like you have all the time in the world. You wake up one day and you're suddenly 21 and you realize you don't have a lot of, you don't have forever. So I wish I could have had mentorship in my teenage years. And like I mentioned earlier, I want to be the person to the young people that we help and anyone of any age, but especially those that feel directionless in their young age. I want to be for them what I needed. I needed mentorship. I needed someone to tell me what to do. When I was in community college, I I was going to go on academic probation because I had no idea at the age of 22 what a general education plan was. One of the most basic things you learn in college. I had no idea. No one asked me, what's your plan? My mom would ask me, when are you graduating? And I would always run away from her when she asked me that because I didn't know. I didn't have an answer. So I'm just taking from that experience and I'm telling myself, now that I'm in West Cal, I have a vehicle in which I can help people. And I have come across numerous students in West Cal, in JP's classes, in LBUSD, in the LA County probation housing camps, where they don't know what a general education plan is. They don't have even a general plan for their lives. They don't know. I've asked 18-year-olds, what do you want to do? I don't know. And I tell them, I was once in your shoes. And I remember, it's going to be a little vulnerable here. And when I was 15, people used to ask me, what are you going to do when you turn 18? I used to say, I don't think I'm going to live past 18. It gives me chills to say that now. But the reason why I want to stay in West Cal, I am in West Cal, I'm part of the mission of West Cal is to change the community by inspiring, giving opportunities to not just young people, but anyone of any age. Even people that are older, that they want to have a change in their career, inspire them as well. There's a place for everyone in the workforce. And I feel like that is why apprenticeships are so important, because it would address a lot of gaps. A lot of people, they need to get paid. And I feel like getting paid while on the job is an incentive for gaining the skills you need to step up and get a thriving wage. So I love that term, thriving wage. So, yeah, I'm just gonna pass it on.
All right. Good deal. Thank you for the question. Wrapped up here. So I think the opportunity that we find for our organization and for clean energy in general, clean energy and clean transportation, is that there has been so much invested over the past few years. So thank you, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, and soon to be President Harris, right? They have made a huge investment in clean energy and jobs in sustainability, climate change, et cetera. And so there were some really lean years with that last administration, with COVID, with people losing their jobs and the economy kind of free falling there for a bit. And so we're coming out of it. We are so excited that the administration has put so much money behind this effort. And this is what this grant is all about. California Jobs First, it's about decarbonizing the LA County region, right? So we don't want to have to depend on oil and natural gas. We want clean energy, and we want jobs for folks that live in underserved communities and environmentally polluted neighborhoods. So we have the money to do that right now. And I think we're good for the next year or so. Not sure what's going to happen after that, but fingers crossed. Thank you.
Does this one work?
Yes.
I have a lot to say. I want to say, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. For me, my mother was an entrepreneur. She immigrated from Mexico here. So I started working at a young age with her because there wasn't, at that time, there was no money for babysitters, right? So I started working when I was 8.5 years old. That was being my mom, that's the way she took care of us, right? And throughout that journey, I saw my mother with, started her business, grew her business. I seen it become stagnant, and then I seen it decline, and then I seen 10 years later, the business disappear. Nobody stepped up to help her. She didn't even know how to ask for help. And that's something that stuck with me. And I said, that's not fair. Like, what can we do? Really, we didn't know what to do, right? So that was one of the areas, my first start of why I wanted to go into entrepreneurship and figure out a way, hey, how did this happen to my mom's business? This was like our bread and butter, how she took care of us, right? So it's things just started connecting. I'm just like a lot of the students here. I'm part of the system of the educational system, going to community college. I went to Valley College and I went to Mission College. I graduated from Mission College and I transferred to Cal State Los Angeles. And I graduated from Cal State Los Angeles with a entrepreneurship degree, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I was one of those students that got stuck in the educational pipeline, right? When we talk about the mentorship, when we talk about when are you gonna graduate, how long are you gonna be there in school, it was hard for me, right? I developed a bunch of schools from keyboarding to accounting to all these things, wanted to go into different fields, never found out where my exit was. Never found out where my exit was. So one professor told me, you gotta get out of here. In a good way, you gotta get out of here. So what classes do I need, right? And that's how I found out my roadmap to Cal State Los Angeles, right? So that's a little bit part of my journey where I started understanding the educational system. When I was at Cal State Los Angeles, then there was an opportunity for me to be able to join and become president of an entrepreneurship club. Through that entrepreneurship club, we enter a competition called the Mayor's Cup. This is Mayor Eric Garcetti. Back in 2016, it was a competition to solve issues in your communities. 5 of those issues: homelessness, small business, another one was affordable housing, sanitation. Well, my area was small business. That's the area. So my team and I decided to go, you know what, we're going to compete. We're going to compete in this program. And because we're the entrepreneurship club, right? Let's get in here. Well, we're competing with about over 140 schools, okay? And these are all universities. We were the only state school competing. Somehow, some way, we would go to USC. I'll tell you, we'll go to USC, and we'll go in Casa de Ley. We don't have no uniform. We just come like we just went to school. When you get to USC, you're talking about all the clubs. They're suited out, and we're going in there like we don't belong here. Like we don't belong here. Like what's going on? So now we're pitching to judges. And the judges are looking at us like, how come you guys don't have your uniforms? You guys are not, and that's something that we took back to the campus, like, hey, you got to invest into us. So from that moment, we're thinking about, wow, they're not even investing into us. So that was already an eye opener, like, what's going on? So we got the email, you got entered into the competition. There was only 5 schools that got in. Cal State Los Angeles, which we were the only state. The second two schools from LMU, USC, and Pepperdine. All right. All of them were all graduate students. We were undergrads to top it off. We ended up winning the competition. Okay. It was across campus and we won that competition. And it was something that hit home to all of us because we didn't have the resources, right? We were competing with students that were already graduate students that were already in internship, doing projects, doing technology. We just kept ours really basic. And that's how Conexión came about. The programs that we run and going through that journey of learning how to pitch, going off campus to learn about design thinking methodology, right? Learning about tech, bringing all those resources to the school, developing the team. That's all the things that my team and I have got, built, and now are creating programs in the South LA community for the youth, young adults, and also community members that want to go into entrepreneurship, right? So that's like a big win for us, right? Continuing to do that, right? And to be transparent, I'm part of the regional table, right? I'm one of the regional tables. And the reason why I wanted to play in that role is because I need to know where the money's going. I need to know when the money's coming. Where is the money flowing? Why? Because I want that money to come into my community. I want that community to be invested into the nonprofits that we have in South Central Los Angeles. I want that funding to come into our organizations because we have a lot of nonprofits in South Central Los Angeles and as well in your other communities as well. The problem is the majority of the time we're fighting for crumbs. We don't have the funding. So as all of you are looking for resources as a nonprofit, mine is sweat equity. I'm gonna keep on going and I'm gonna help you. But then I'm looking like I gotta pay my rent too. I gotta pay my bills too, right? So there's a balance between there. So I'm there trying to figure out again, how do I bring that money in here? How do we create meaningful programs so we can give back to the community, provide apprenticeship programs, right? Provide entrepreneurship or other pathways for them to get somehow a career pathway. A career, if you're gonna go to school, that's fine, right? But something where we can come back and give back to our community. One of the hopefully we can get to this level is creating a makerspace, a prototyping center makerspace, right? Where we can teach a lot of the youth and young adults about how to use CAD, Adobe, these technology programs, that these programs will lead you to other fields in different industry, whether it's architecture, whether it's developing products for Disney when it comes down to Mandalorian, all those little weapons, those helmets and all that, that's all design. Where's our youth learning about these programs, right? There's an entrepreneurship pathway through there. So that I'm hoping that can be a win for my community, and I hope for all of your community that some of those dollars come in and come into the nonprofits that are actually doing the work. We're doing the groundwork. I'm gonna leave it there for now.
Oscar, I love it. And all of you, thank you so much. I think, what I'm hearing is we don't want to settle for the crumbs. What I'm hearing is that your education needs to actually have real value to your life.
Right.
I'm hearing everybody deserves a meaningful place in the workforce. And I'm hearing that we need to have some care for maintaining the environmental quality of the communities we live in. Right. And I think all of those things are super important. The other thing I love about what you're hearing here from the panelists is a bias towards action. Right. So we're talking about not sitting back and waiting for somebody else to do something for us so that we can then go in and try to make positive impact in these communities. All the people sitting on the panel, and this is what I'm doing. Right. Not to say that they're not getting support, but it's funny how once you actually get moving, the support shows up. Right. It doesn't necessarily show up first. So I wanted to actually have the panelists also talk a little bit more about the kind of approach to motivating and providing for the participants in your programs, right? A lot of these people are coming, showing up without necessarily having all the things that somebody who decides to pursue a master's degree might have in their back pocket. And so, JP started off talking about how Like, I'm not going to let these people take loans. Well, then what do you do? Like, let's talk about how do we actually activate and engage this workforce and get people in career pathways who may not come with a ton of resources to start with.
So in the world of an apprenticeship, see, we all have to understand when I'm saying apprenticeship, a lot of people think that there's a guy with a shovel digging a hole or doing plumbing. That's not only an apprenticeship. It's not. Please take that out of everyone's brain. An apprenticeship program is three elements. Okay. One, you have what's called related and supplemental instruction. Let me make it very simple for you. Book work, like going to class. Second part, you have the on-the-job training, OJT. That's where the employer is the sponsor for that person learning those skills. Okay. The third element is, of course, the apprentice. All right. An apprenticeship can be banking, finance, it can be law, it can be plumbing, so it can be construction technology, it can be advanced manufacturing. Every single major that we're talking about can be an apprenticeship. Now, where the person doesn't have the resources, this is where the sponsorship comes in. And this is where the pre-apprenticeship comes in. This is the area that Westcal has really solved to bring value to the sponsor, which is the employer who's paying for all this stuff, because it's not just the taxpayer, okay? In a pre-apprenticeship world, we give a kid, well, I think everyone's a kid, every student the opportunity to play in our playground and get their hands wet and dirty about, here are these different jobs that are available to you. Like before you go become a medical assistant or work in pharmacy technology or become a machinist, why don't we go and play? Let's go and have a hands-on experience to see if this is something you want to do. Okay? Because the washout rate for an apprentice is almost the same washout rate for a college graduate. It's like 70 to 80%. They wash out because they're involved in a major that they later figure out, I hate this, I don't want to do this for a living. So why don't we get them that exposure as fast as young as possible to make sure that, one, this is something they want to do, they have skin in the game, and now we bring in the heavy bucks, because now you're talking about a $50,000, $100,000 investment to train someone for that skill. What are they going to generate for the community? Millions upon millions of dollars in return, right? For a kid to make $100,000 a year as a machinist in advanced manufacturing, the training itself is going to be $40,000 to $50,000 for a 9-month program. And then you have 5 years as a journeyman, okay? That kid is going to make $100,000 year one. Year one at 18. Damn. I wish I had that when I was 18 years old. That's freaking cool. But before we make those commitments, there's a return on investment. So we also have to address the other elephant in the room for a lot of these nonprofits, and a lot of you represent nonprofits, and you're doing God's work, and I'm not picking on you, but please, for the love of God, there is profit in nonprofit. I'm going to repeat that again. I'm not going to lose my 501c3 by saying it. There is profit in nonprofit. What that means is don't go out there begging like on Halloween for trick or treat. Get the candy and just devour it. You want to have a self-sustaining program. You just don't take grants and burn it in the middle of the road. That's just stupid. You want to take those funds and invest it so that now you're entering into the world of invoicing people for providing a service. You're invoicing the employer, right? Because you're providing something of value. You're invoicing the government agencies because you are producing something in return. That person who's getting that career is becoming a taxpayer. And it's finding the next generation of kid or younger person or older person, whatever, to get those necessary skills in workforce. For example, Westcal, as a pre-apprenticeship, we also work with the Department of Defense. We're a skill bridge provider for returning men and women who are coming back into civilian careers. Like, how the heck did that happen? I thought we're only with youth. We're not with youth. We're with every single person who wants to have a thriving career, no matter what it is. And so it's a different way of thinking. It's the entrepreneurship element that you're bringing up. You have to treat everything as a for-profit model, because if you don't, you're not able to take care of the number one client that you have, I'm the president of West Cal Academy. My priority is not our students. My priority is my staff. If my staff is not eating, they can't work, they can't train anybody else. My staff eats first before a student eats. That's my priority one, because I can't have my staff waiting in a bread line. They eat first. You know who eats last? Me. I got enough reserves right here.
Thank you. So, so JP, I see him as he's the architect of the program, the West Cal program, the visionary. He moves the big blocks, and there's kind of a symbiosis with how we work together. He's the big visionary, and I prefer to work on a more granular level when it comes to our program. And what that means is I like the one-on-one interactions when it comes with the students. And I also involve the parents. I think it's very important for the parents to be involved in every step of the way of the student. And just as an example, we have here Marcy and Kelvin, and just an example of a young person that is interested in our program. And we invited them here. We want to get them involved in the community, in the mother and the child involved in the next steps of the child. And a way that I like to uplift students is to give them the reality of what to expect, letting them know things that I feel like their school counselors is not going to tell them. I know my school counselors were very mean to me in high school, and my counselors in community college were non-existent. So a huge part of what I do to motivate and inspire students in the program is to, number one, we have a process, a system, is we do a Zoom call with the interested party. A Zoom call kind of get to a feel out for what they want to do, what they like is how we introduce the question of what you want to do. What do you like? Do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to write? Do you like to read? It makes it more digestible for them to give us an answer so we can help them out. And we understand that not everyone wants to go down a traditional college route. We also understand that not everyone wants to go down a trades route. Some people prefer to keep their hands soft. JP.
I wear gloves.
Yeah, so we also don't discourage people from going to college, and that is why we also give the reality to a young person that wants to go to college. And JP was talking earlier about not taking out loans. I have no debt thanks to West Cal. I remember I was receiving checks in the mail from, I believe it was FAFSA, and I was about to throw them out into the shredder, $5,000, because I thought it was a scam. And you mentioned earlier about all these small businesses getting bombarded with surveys and kind of like I got that end of it because my mom is a small business owner. We had a lot of people kind of come in and pick at us and try to dissect us, and so I was very wary of anything that came from the government. That this is a scam. No, I don't trust it. But he told me, no, please cash that in immediately today, yesterday. And there are students out there that are in the same situation where they're getting resources, but they don't know how to use them. They don't know what it is. So we also provide knowledge of the next steps of what they should do in terms of going down a college route or a trades route. So we're not just we don't have those blinders on where it's just one road only, one size fits all. No, everyone is different. So yes.
All right. Yeah. So I think to answer that question, we have a 13-week training program for our trainees, And so during that time, they're learning the basics of solar installation training, for example. We've added more curriculum to this program now because we want to create career pathways. We want to make sure that that's not the only thing they're learning, and they don't end up just as a solar installer. So we're going to add more curriculum to teach them about how to design actual systems, how to work in large commercial buildings, create resilient centers that are very much needed across LA County. So that's how we're trying to keep folks engaged, keep them motivated. We also provide them opportunities to get up on the roof, like after the 6 week of training. So they're actually doing the work in the communities that need these resources the most. And that brings a lot of pride, a lot of joy, especially to folks that are in from the same communities where we're working. We got big grants from for Pacoima, Watts, South LA, and Pomona. And so we've started our workforce efforts there. We've trained many people, and so now they're in line for additional opportunities, whether it's at the city, it's at the utility, it's with a nonprofit organization, or it's a for-profit solar installation company. And so I think all of those things, we're trying to motivate folks, trying to show them that there's a lot of potential here, that there's a lot of opportunity, in clean energy and clean transportation, sustainability, et cetera. So I think those are just some of the ways we do a lot of things with folks to introduce them to other careers as well. So you don't like solar anymore, let's move you into clean transportation. We have some partners who started a company called Charger Help. Check Google, search that company, Google Charger Help. And what these two young ladies did, they started to learn about electric vehicles and charging stations, right? How to install them. One of them asked the question, well, who's going to fix these charging stations? They started a company with the help of Lacey, the LA Clean Incubator, and they are now doing business. They're not for nonprofit, they're for profit. They're doing business in 17 states across the country. They're doing really well. Their technicians, when they start training, they're making $50K a year during training, and then they move up to 65, 70,000 within the first year to 2 years, which is not bad, right? So those are the folks that we're partnering with. And we believe that by doing that, by having really good partners, we're going to keep our folks motivated, and our folks just, seeing the big picture. It's not just about solar. There's so many other things that they can be doing as well. Thank you.
So I gotta stop there. This has been such an amazing conversation. I think there's so much here that we can dig into even more. And I apologize, Oscar, but apparently you all get to eat. I don't, but I believe the food is already there. So I just want to thank the panel for all of this information, these insights, and for your inspiring stories, because I think more than anything, you guys have shown us that there's a way forward that doesn't necessarily involve waiting for help. So thank you. And for those of you there in person, go eat.
And real quick, just another round of applause for the Car Foundation. I mean, that's apprenticeship. Look at them, they're behind their life. They're hands-on. That's the type of work that you want to see a lot of the youth and young adults to be doing. So that's when we look at a apprenticeship program, pre-apprenticeship programs. That's what it's all about, right? So thank you.
We have some tables out there. We have Korean, Japanese, and Mexican fusion. Okay? Take that first.
Sorry, my hands are cold. My hands are cold. Yeah.
That's so much taller than last time like this.
I know. I'm not gonna grow. And I have to, I'm supposed to be like 6'5". Look at my arms.
Oh my God.
I've been a size 12 since I was like 11.
I have a very tall niece and nephew. She is, how old is Brooke? 16? And she's like 5'8", 5'9".
So, Armand, I can't, yeah, there's not enough Wi-Fi for me to even, send an email. This is weird, I can't. Do you have a Wi-Fi hotspot?
No, mine isn't working out.
Yeah, we ordered Wi-Fi and we didn't get,
Yeah,
well, we didn't get one to work.
right.
Um,
Jay Tucker, just checking back in with you. We're preparing to reconvene here in just a moment. So we just wanted to reach out to see if you were still there as we plan for our next steps.
I'm here. Been waiting for you guys to tell me what's going on.
Thank you very much for your patience. Hope you had something to eat too. I'll check with
Right.
Kevin and we'll get some clarity for you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I want to figure out some kind of way to have people kind of break off into groups to.
About the survey, do you guys have the QR codes for that? Sir just told me.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
I just want to try to gather at least some information from
Right.
folks.
So there's going to be. Is Damon still? He's gone, huh?
Well, I mean, I emailed him and I sent him the link. I don't see him in the room, but let me go back to my inbox to see if he responded. No, I don't have a response from Damon.
Sheesh, this is crazy.
I mean, he was responsive at the 6 o'clock hour, and
Yeah, I know.
and I hit him around 7 with the link. But he's probably
Let me
already
see
done
if we
by
can, we can figure out another way to get
now. Also, we do
the
have
QR code to.
Jay engaged, so whenever we get a chance, we can explain to him what the plan is.
Yeah, there's a link that I sent out to everybody, all the sub-regional tables. And that is something that I wanted to gather everybody's emails and send the email out geography, and race. We are going to have 3 more sessions. We're going to have 3 more sessions. Tomorrow, we're going to be at LA Valley College. On Friday, we're going to be at the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach. And then next Wednesday, we're going to be in the Crenshaw area. And each one of these sessions are really to try to capture what is the temperature and the feelings about who you guys are connected to geography and race. And how can we put this data, how can we put this information into the blender so that we can come out with some more data about how we can get better. I'm looking for, some real frank conversation about race. But for this point, I'm going to let Jay take us home because you guys have been here for a long time. I know we enjoyed some parts of our meal, but I want to make sure that everybody gets on the road with a word to think about for the evening. All right. So without further ado, we're going to take Jay and send it home.
Sure. So thank you, everybody, for spending your time with us today. Hopefully, the combination of what Armand shared with respect to statistics and information about what's happening across the county, as well as the conversations that you heard from our panelists, hopefully that sparked some ideas for you, and some perspectives, not necessarily to kind of completely transform your thinking, but to shift it a little bit so that you can see some opportunities for us to really make our communities better and for us to find smart ways to invest in the next generation of businesses, the next generation of our workforce, and the next generation of our communities. Um, I recognize that during the conversations, there were many ideas, initiatives, and thoughts that were brought up that we didn't really have time to explore further. Um, and so I encourage you, if you haven't already, to kind of swap information with people, follow up, ask questions. And as Kevin mentioned, one of the areas of focus for this initiative has been to try to identify more clearly issues of geography and race. We've talked, I think, extensively about some of the economic issues and opportunities in the region. We didn't really get to a conversation today, to drill down specifically on issues of race. That's okay because we're not going to do everything in every session, but look for some kind of survey or follow up that you'll get by email. And obviously, if you have any thoughts regarding race and economics, race and disinvestment in the communities, race and opportunities, please do share that with the staff and with our panelists going forward. We're going to use every bit of feedback and information that we receive from you, um, in our efforts to kind of synthesize all of the inputs for future reports and so on. So don't hold back, don't be shy. I know a lot of you, because I've seen the faces, have already shared some of your thoughts over food and leading up to this close. So please just continue to keep the information coming. And again, we really appreciate your investment in the process. We really appreciate you coming out tonight in person. And for those of you who viewed online, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. And hopefully, we'll see more than a few of you with the upcoming events that we have scheduled. So thank you and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a hand for our moderator, Jay Tucker.
So if there's anybody that has any questions, suggestions, or comments for us, this is the portion where we want real feedback so that we can get better with our last 3 remaining forums. So we can pass the mic around. Do we have a wireless mic?
I have one. I really, in terms of the communities that we want to serve, uh, even if we're looking at ethnic backgrounds and characteristics, we really need to look at those who are incarcerated, those who are justice impacted, those who have been released, because as we all know, the majority of those who are arrested and convicted are those of people of color. That is the reality of the world. I need to see data regarding that specific demographics in our future work together, because it's an area that is extremely important for everything that we do.
Test.
So real quick, comments, and maybe it can be, more communicated, but I'm thinking about as we bring resources into the community, like let's make sure that the resources actually go into the community and not play it safe. Make sure that these resources are not going to like the outskirts of cities, right? When I say an example would be like USC. If I'm in South LA, USC is in South LA, don't put these resources next to South LA and USC. Put them in the community, these workforce development, these resources, right? Because when you put them around schools like that, you're keeping it safe. And it's not really for us in the community. So resources need to come in straight into the community.
Anybody else? I mean, we need this is the kind of data we need. Live data, video data.
Okay, so I have a question for all of you who have who are out here in the community helping. How do you deal with the generation who feels like they are entitled to something, and they're not willing to work and get out here and earn a living for themselves? What do you do to get to those individuals? Because I feel like those individuals are the ones who are being left behind, and those are the ones that we need to really fight for and to get a hold of.
I might add, this is a instructor at East LA College who's talking. So actually, Tracy, tell them who you are.
Yeah, man, come on now.
What department?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Griffin. I am a professor, adjunct professor here at East LA College. I am in the Adelaide Health HIT program. I have been in the medical field for over 40 years. I have worked as a nurse, and I have worked as a medical coder, a manager, medical biller, and an instructor. When I came up in school, I was given opportunities in high school. My senior year in high school, I spent it at Martin Luther King Hospital training to be an LVN nurse. We need to bring back more training into these schools. Get these kids when they're in elementary, junior high school. They have to start out young to learn, to want to learn. That's how we build productive people. But it's also going to take parents to help, because the teachers cannot do it by themselves. The parents have to want to be a part of this and to see and fight for their kids. We can't sit down and do nothing. We got to fight for our children. Our children are being left behind. And I don't mean just African Americans, I mean all our races. They're being left behind. We're not in Beverly Hills. I'm from South Central. I grew up in Watts. I was born and raised. But I fought my way out because I wanted more for myself. So I got a free education. I'm sorry. I've even my credentials as a health information technology, it was free. LA County paid for it. But I earned it. I didn't give up. So now I'm giving back to the students who are coming here to ELAC, because I am an alumni here. And I want to give back to the community and to the people who come here to want to learn. So what are we going to do to get those and reach those out there who feel like they just want a fast buck? But that fast buck is going to get them either in jail or in the grave.
Some groups that I do want to highlight are seniors. I really want to put that out there, that they also, retirement age, being extended, they need sources of funding and training. So I want to highlight that. I want to re-emphasize about the focus on small business owners. I would say for immigrant communities, communities of color, that those business ownership is really not out of so much aspiration, but lack of options. And so they're very much isolated. They're working very long hours, usually in a very harsh environment. And they don't have that luxury. They don't have the connections to come out to these type of gatherings. So I'm glad that there were at least a couple of voices here in the room speaking on their behalf. But I really like the idea of like USC students coming alongside and helping them do marketing or payroll, whatever it may be. I really think that there should be a lot more of that kind of intentional investment. We in the past were a partner with LA County's Youth at Work, paid internship program for 14 through 24. And it's like 600 employers, county, government, private as well as nonprofits. But, when I share this program, I hear from individuals saying, well, you know what, actually, what if you're older than 24? Is there something there for them? I know that City of LA does the targeted local hire program, but it's like a lottery system. But I really think there should be more of that type of program. And I was telling Stella also that for any type of like paid training, training opportunities, that it should be paid, for many of the low income individuals. Otherwise, they can't take advantage and exercise those opportunities and access them. So that's another piece. And again, the ethnic media, I think, is really important partner because they're the one that kind of gets the word out to different underserved communities. And I feel the pain here. As I said, it's supposed to be racial and geographic, geographic, but the fact that there's no racial is something, especially again, as an API in this county, we are so underrepresented, even though again, we make up the second largest minority, that I really want to just put another push out there. This was supposed to be the kind of gathering where their voices were supposed to be heard. But, with such a short notice, the kind of mobilizing that's really needed didn't happen. And yeah, so.
This is the chance for everybody to air it out. Come on.
Thank you. And sorry, I'm standing up, but that was a good meal. I got to stand up. No, I want to appreciate everyone who's here, but especially the panelists for sharing. And I think I want to echo the feedback around data and around having very explicit conversations about race when the opportunity arises, and really take that opportunity, because I think my fear is that if we don't have those conversations here, what happens is when we're done, we'll submit a report that says we had a conversation about race, but we really didn't. And we don't take these opportunities to really speak on it. When we were hearing earlier about the data that was presented, I was almost like, this data is actually telling us who's being discriminated by or discriminated in the workforce. So with all the data that tells us this is who gets jobs, this is who doesn't, I'm hearing that folks that get an education are more likely to get a job, although that's changing very quickly. But when we're also talking about degrees, we also know that it's primarily communities of color who don't have access to the degree. So I appreciate the conversation about changing the requirements, about it being more about experience and creating opportunities for experience. But we really do need to bring that hard data in that speaks about the experience of folks of color as they try to get these opportunities, and what is the bias and discrimination that they experience. Not directly, because sometimes we think it's like, oh, I don't like you because of the color of your skin. It's the policies that are there. It's the hiring practices that are there, that we just continue to do the same things over and over again because we've done them, even though the data is telling us that it's our folks who are not getting these jobs. So I would love to see more data for sure moving forward.
Anybody else got the time for a couple more? Yeah, name again?
Hi, my name is Esther from Mentor for Change. One thing that came up, not only through the 5 weeks of convenings that we had during May, but also more recently as we've been walking with program participants who are facing challenge, is that, there are people who have gotten the education they need, but they've gotten additional credentials on top of their associates or bachelors, and yet they're still not getting the call from potential employers. They have they have successfully acquired the credentials, but they're not getting the opportunity. And uh, Hepina had mentioned that that there's a program called Youth at Work, and we do have students who are involved in that. But that kind of work is only for like youths who are still probably in high school or just in the process of getting maybe their associates. But we have, young adults now or full adults who have their associates, who have their bachelor's degrees, but they're still working, they're still being underemployed and not fully employed for the credentials that they achieve because they haven't been given the opportunity. They don't look like what the companies look like. They are of different minority races. Some people have disabilities. Some people have a very long period of non-work because there were health conditions or they were raising children that made them not desirable as employees, yet they put in the work of getting the credentials they needed. So there has to be some type of guaranteed work employment program that once you have achieved a certain level of credentials, then you should receive the opportunity to work. Because it's not a living level playing field. And that's been like heartbreaking in many situations, to be underutilized, to be underemployed, to be employed in a field that you are so much overqualified for because you don't get the opportunity for the positions that you did educate yourself for.
Okay, one more person. Okay, two. We got two. And we're finished.
Thank you. I'm Catherine. I'm from Polly's Project. And really, just very simply, when we went through the survey, people were asking, where are these jobs? Where are these jobs? And with the information that we received from the data, where are these jobs? If somebody could, if on their website we have something to show these opportunities, I would love to be able to present at least one job, something. Where are these opportunities that we saw in all these new particular areas, but we don't see them. Everybody that I spoke to said they go to Indeed.com, maybe Monster, maybe they go, on some Facebook. I mean, different places. But where are these jobs that we could refer people to? That would be amazing. And so if that one thing comes out of this, that would be amazing.
Hi, I'm Linda Kelly from Fathers and Mothers Who Care. And to the young lady that asked about how do we get to the students or our young adults that feel entitled, it takes a lot of listening. We have to listen even when they're talking about stuff that most of us don't even care to hear. We still have to keep listening until our ears are tired. We deal with the youth. If they come in a cluster, as long as we get one or two, the rest of them will fall off, but they'll come back because then they'll see that the one or two that we did grab, that they're doing something, they're starting to make money, they're liking what they're doing, and then that's how we get the youth. As far as our seniors and stuff go, we need to retrain them in soft skills. A lot of our seniors had manual labor and they need soft skills to come inside to work. So that's something we need to work on. I had a conversation with another group, and the thing about taking our unskilled people and getting them to work is that our government is not listening when we're saying that we cannot just train them and then expect them to have a learned behavior of knowing how to handle the finances. You're just cutting them off from whatever assistance that they already have. As soon as we get them employed at one paycheck, they still have other skills that they need to learn in order before you cut them off. Childcare is hard, so don't cut them off of crystal stairs after their one check. So it's a lot of government things that need to change in order to get our workforce working. Thank you.
Oh, great. Well, Jay, I think you can take this home. Anything you want to add? Dessert?
Please unmute.
Jay, you're on mute. I think he checked out. No, he can't talk to us. Well, I'm gonna have to step in for Jay. He can't hear me.
I don't hear you. I don't hear you all. I only heard the folks on microphone.
Okay, Jay, we're trying to see if you have any responses to the things that we just heard in the room. Can you hear me?
Jay, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. We would like you to take us out, maybe with any responses that you have to what everybody has said here in closing, and then a close.
Well, I think I think I took us home earlier. I would say that I'm listening to all the comments, and we have obviously a lot of work to do. I like the suggestions around thinking about specific situations that people are going through as they transition into the workforce. I like the comments around trying to better understand um, what dynamics are actually at play that are keeping people from getting access to jobs, including where you find them and so on. Um, there's a lot more that I think needs to be discussed, and I think I said earlier that some of these challenges, and what's inspiring about the panel's conversation, some of these challenges can be addressed through our efforts without waiting for other people to fix them. But some of these issues are genuinely systemic, and so while anecdotes and some of these specific complaints by themselves don't necessarily paint the picture, hopefully there'll be enough feedback through this process where we can identify real opportunities to change the system and open up um, pathways for more people. And with that, again, thank you so much for being candid. Thank you so much for staying here. Thanks so much for your thinking and your comments and your commitment. And we're going to run this back tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see some more familiar faces then. Have a wonderful evening.